Good evening and thanks for joining us. We continue to follow breaking news from south of the border this hour. Former U.S. President Donald Trump says he has been indicted in a classified documents probe. Trump posted on his social media platform, Truth Social, that his attorneys have informed him he has been indicted on federal charges of mishandling classified documents at his home in Mar-a-Lago. The details of the indictment are still unclear at this time, but the Associated Press is reporting the former president is facing 7 counts in the probe. Trump said he was summoned to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday at 3 p.m. The U.S. Justice Department has not yet publicly confirmed the indictment. For more on this, I'm joined live now by presidential historian Alan Lichtman. Mr. Lichtman, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
So we've only heard Donald Trump's side so far, and he says this is a dark day for the United States. I want to get your thoughts.
This is a very bright day for the United States because it shows no one is above the law. And just because you say you can't be accountable doesn't mean you can't be held accountable by due process of law. You know, I was just researching as an historian Watergate, the Richard Nixon scandal, and Nixon was saying exactly the same things that Trump was saying. There's really nothing here. I'm not guilty of anything. This is the liberal media making something out of nothing. This is overzealous prosecutors going after me. You know, just as Nixon would take no responsibility for what he has done, so too Trump takes no responsibility. Well, he's in this situation because of what he has done, not because of the media, not because of the prosecutors. Let me also say, everyone has been wrong in calling this a documents case. This is not a documents case. This is a national security case. The indictments do not pertain to mishandling paper. They pertain to jeopardizing our national security by taking national security documents, putting them in non-secure locations, and refusing to turn them over to proper authorities. That's what the Espionage Act, way back in World War I, was all about.
If this is a matter of national security, then it means this is no joke. And out of all the legal threats facing Donald Trump, do you think this is the one that presents the most danger to him? Is this the thing that brings him down, takes him down?
You know, there are so many other serious charges. Trying to overturn an election in Georgia, inciting an insurrection. You know, it's hard to pick and choose. But I would say, in a sense, he's at his greatest jeopardy here because I think it's pretty much of an open and shut case. I'm not a lawyer, but I've been an expert witness in over 100 federal civil rights cases. He's committed his crimes right out in open. He brags about taking these documents. He says they were his. He lies about, you know, I could declassify them just by thinking about it. It doesn't even matter whether he declassified them. It's whether they implicate the national security. His lawyers told Justice they lied, saying, you know, they had given them all the documents, and in just a few hours, Justice found 100 more classified documents. I have no idea what the Trump defense is going to be here.
You're talking about the 100 classified documents found in his Mar-a-Lago home?
Yes, after they said they had done a diligent search and couldn't find anything. You know, I listened to his former lawyer, I think a guy named Palatort. He said, well, you know, they truncated the deadline. They didn't give us enough time to go through it. They had a year and a half. The National Archives was seeking this stuff back a year and a half before the FBI search. And the FBI found these documents in a few hours. So, you know, beyond nonsensical arguments like that, I have no idea what the defense is going to be.
You know that Donald Trump is going to be looking at this tonight and saying this is going to help me in the polls. You know that based on what we know about Donald Trump as a person and a politician, he is going to think this is going to be an advantage for him, that this is going to give him a boost in popularity.
I think he's whistling past the graveyard. You know, I can't say whether this will crack Trump's base or not. Maybe not. But, you know, Trump has lied and said, I'm way ahead in all the general election polls. Not true. The latest polls show him a little bit behind, and over 60% of the American people in another poll say that this national security case is a serious crime, and fewer than 25% say it isn't. So while this may not crack his ability to win the Republican nomination, it is a grievous harm for him in any hope to win a general election, particularly if he's convicted, which I think is quite likely. Look, Trump can huff and he can puff, but he can't blow the courthouse down, and he's never faced a situation like this where he's in the criminal justice system and he has no control over what happens.
And speaking of the courthouse, he's going to have to show up to the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday. That is, again, all coming from Donald Trump tonight. The U.S. Justice Department, we should mention.
Let me add one more quick thing.
Yep, go ahead,
He's going to
Alan.
have to sit through the trial, which could last 6 weeks, right smack in the middle of the presidential campaign. And he has a trial in New York he's got to sit through, which could last for weeks. He may have a trial in Georgia, and he may have a trial in Washington. He may have to spend all his time during the presidential election year sitting in the courtrooms.
That would be fascinating and unprecedented. Alan Lichtman, thanks so much for joining us. Great to talk to you as always.
Take care.